What's up, fam squads? Today's essential questions are, why are holiday traditions so weird? Is the elf on the shelf watching me? And is coal really that bad of a gift, or is Santa just assuming bad children are impoverished and need heat? Let's introduce today's teachers. I'm Mr. Walter, and I left prepping this episode to 20 minutes ago. Not a good idea.
I'm Mr. Ebbers, and while working during my summer maintenance job for the lovely municipality of Lincoln Township, Michigan,
The municipality township? Okay.
I was weed whacking along a fence, and I had gone from one side of the fence to the other. All my supplies were on the other side of the fence, and I thought, I'm just going to jump the fence. And it was like I feel like it was a 4 to 5 foot fence. You know, nothing too crazy, but you'd kind of have to oof yourself over.
That's a technical term.
Yeet yourself over.
There you go.
That's the one.
And I think I had done it once before and was successful. The second time, I did not have enough oomph, not enough force, and I ended
Turns this into a science equation.
I ended up slashing my hand. Well, it felt like a slash. It was a pretty good gash, and I also ended up ripping my pants. So it was like a double hurt on that one, double damage. And to add insult to injury, I get home. I'm thinking I should probably clean this, and we don't have any hydrogen peroxide, but we have rubbing alcohol. I'm like, I'll just put some rubbing alcohol on it. That was some of the most extreme pain I've ever felt. I was like, I just tried like a little bit of it. Like, it's okay. No, that's bad. So yeah, that's that.
I'm Mr. Linton, and one time invited to a wedding. Decided to go to said wedding, bring my children. Only problem, turns out my kids were not invited to the wedding. So we showed up to the reception, and there were not chairs for the children. That was pretty embarrassing.
Ooh.
I don't remember what it said on the invitation, but I have looked very carefully at every wedding invitation since. They were, the hosts of said wedding, very gracious. Did not comment, did not say anything about it, but that was an oops.
That's been a trend I've been hearing a lot of my generation complain about, because it's kind of a lot of people have kids if you are kind of my or your age, and they don't want kids I don't know why they don't want kids at weddings.
I think you just don't want to pay for them.
They just,
it's
yeah,
extra
just the
work.
rough price
it's
of
extra
it.
food.
Yeah, I get it.
And maybe different food for the kids.
I felt bad.
Wow.
But it happened.
And despite all of that, we're still the smartest guys in the classroom. Welcome to class, everybody. We're back, boys. We decided to do a holiday special today.
Because it is the holidays.
Happy holidays, everybody. We are not necessarily focusing entirely on Christmas. Are we all focusing on Christmas?
No.
One of mine is Christmas related.
All three of mine are Christmas related.
Originally,
There's just the most traditions surrounding Christmas, I feel. But today we're focusing on weird traditions that humans have around holidays. And there's a lot of them because humans are weird. But we've each gotten a couple of them, and we're going to share them with each other.
citation needed. Humans are weird.
Humans are weird. Citation needed? No citation needed.
No citation.
I am the citation for that. Starting off, Mr. Rabbers, would you like to tell us your first tradition?
Sure. We just wrapped up Halloween, and many of you may know that Halloween has some Gaelic, Celtic, North English roots in the celebration of Samhain, or if you look at it in like American English, it looks like Samhain, Samhain, Hain, but in the pronunciation it's Sahwin, Samhain.
Yeah, the H is a soft mutation for the letter before it.
Thank you for confirming.
You're
Thank you.
welcome.
So this is an interesting celebration. It historically took place in around the same time as Halloween of our contemporary celebration, toward the end of October, really on October 31st, kind of to celebrate the midway point between summer and winter. And there's a lot of things from Halloween that we get from this festival. There is the dressing up, going door to door, reciting verses in exchange for food. So just getting food instead of candy. There is this idea that the boundary between our world and the spiritual world is thin. And so this is where the spirits and the fairies would come out and do who knows what to the mortals in the mortal realm. We also have this idea of trying to divine the future. So I'm going to read from this part here. At household festivities throughout the Gaelic region in Wales, many rituals were intended to divine the future of those gathered, especially concerning death and marriage, because if you're in the Middle Ages, what else really is there to be concerned about unless someone's going to die or unless someone's going to be married?
This kind of touches on something that I learned recently that I hadn't really thought about, to do with the Middle Ages and how people thought about time. We think about time in terms of past, present, and future, usually, whereas people in the Middle Ages and earlier thought of it much more in terms of present and not present. And the not present could be broken down into past and future. So people who are more connected to the spiritual realm, or people who are about to die, are often depicted foretelling the future in sagas and eddas, because they are peeking over the horizon into the not present, which includes both of them. So they can connect the past and the future that way.
That makes a lot of sense. I don't have a big example to pull from, but that just feels right from what I've seen in different period dramas.
And I hadn't thought about that before.
That is interesting. Other tradition, bobbing for apples. This was connected with the divination of trying to tell the future, something you could tell from the apple that you're able to pull.
So is it like a lucky 8-ball, but it's the apples have answers on them?
I do not know. I did not look that far into it.
If you bob into the apple and it has a worm in it, that's bad luck.
Probably not good. There is also
Probably
bonfires and either some type of sacrifice, either this is where the details get fuzzy. Like some mention ritualistic or not real, but I can't think of the term. If
symbolic
symbolic sacrifices, right, or actual human sacrifices, or other animal sacrifices,
right.
It's getting kind of a little bit more into the macabre there, but you can see a lot of this gets borrowed for our modern day Halloween,
especially the human sacrifices.
And I kind of wonder.
That's just around these parts.
And what always fascinates me with, and how this is depicted sometimes in different stories or different period dramas that we ingest a little bit more easily today, is this kind of combination of biblically based faith and superstition. Because you see how superstitious a lot of these people are, but a lot of them also have a somewhat Christian upbringing, whether that be like devout Catholic or Protestant, depending on the time period you're talking about. But
yeah, but they're probably not literate, and so your perception of what that religion is very narrow, and so your personal experience and the old wives' tales, or whatever you want to call them, that you've grown up with, probably equally influence your perception of religion as what the religion actually is. Yeah,
and how many, if this is a really remote village, like how close are they to a church or a larger religious institution?
And if you are even close to a church, how educated is your minister on the religion that they're actually trying to teach?
Way out in the boonies of Scotland.
Because you're not getting the good ones out there.
Probably not, no.
And this goes back to, I mean, what time period is the Samhain?
This dates back to... Goodness me.
Is it pre-medieval?
I've got things
Because-
saying like 9th century.
9th century. So I don't know if that's pre or post disappearance of the Druids.
I'm not sure.
Druids being one of the wildest unknowns in history, because they're only mentioned in Roman accounts and they didn't write their own records, so we know nothing about them. Yeah. So there's also that mixed in with it. It's also interesting to note, like, we know a lot more about the world around us than the people there. So like you were saying, the minister might not know what he's preaching. Also, an elephant and a dragon seem equally unlikely to exist if you've never seen one, right?
True.
You hear the joke often, what's more likely to exist, a horse with a single horn on its head or a horse with a 40-foot neck, aka unicorn or giraffe? You get one or the other. It seems like one should be more likely. And you see that a lot in things like depictions of the Mappa Mundi and everything like that, where you have mythical and actual things that the people had never seen. So they're approximations of those things, like elephants, drawn out and all kind of cobbled together into a worldview.
Or somebody has seen it, and then they describe it to somebody else who describes it to somebody else who then tries to draw the thing that they heard
exactly.
forthhand, and then you get interesting stuff.
Yeah.
I think it's fast. Like, so many of the things you described in that holiday touched on other things in my other holidays.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Like,
There's a couple things that connect.
Interesting.
Like, I think the observance of the connections with paganism versus Christianity and the blending of that resulting in these weird practices. I think a lot of that's going to come up again and again today.
I think that's probably likely.
Cool. Now I'm going to pass the torch then.
Look, then I'm going to go because I have more parallels with there. I'm going to talk about Guy Fawkes Night. In
Yay!
Which I think people have probably heard of, if nothing else, just because they're familiar with the Guy Fawkes character because of V for Vendetta.
It's the only way I was exposed to it.
Yeah, but just a little quick historical background. So this is tied to something called the Gunpowder Plot of 1605. James I, King of England, he was a Protestant, and a bunch of Catholics are upset about the fact that there's a Protestant king. There's some other stuff too, but we're not going to get into the nitty-gritty. And there's a plot to assassinate him. And this guy, Guy Fawkes, is caught with this cache of explosives, guarding this cache of explosives under the House of Lords in England. And he gets arrested, and this plot to assassinate the king is foiled. James I orders celebrations of the failure of the plot and gives people permission to have bonfires. And so, like, it was celebrated almost immediately after the foiling of the plot on the first night almost, with bonfires around England to celebrate this. And then by January, Parliament issues this observance of November 5th Act, which was just days before the execution of these guys, that it needed to be this annual celebration of God's divine intervention to prevent the assassination of the king. They actually write a special service for it in the English Book of Common Prayer.
Fascinating.
To commemorate this event. All right, so from the
was James a popular king?
That's the part that I wanted to possibly have dug more into. I don't think he was particularly unpopular.
Okay. So this was more of a niche attempt.
We could get into there's a lot of Catholic Protestant tensions, which
That's true.
existed in England because of the whole Church of England, Henry VIII, and then this ongoing saga of Catholicism versus Protestantism. And as a result of that religious tension within England, this holiday almost instantly turned into this giant anti-Catholic holiday. And so what it really was kind of an anti-Catholic celebration. So when they're burning like Guy Fawkes in effigy, they're preaching sermons against Catholicism and popery, and like it's very from the very beginning, it's an anti-Catholic holiday. Now that's going to wind down once the religious tensions within England dissipate. By the 1800s, the holiday had become much more informal and less kind of government mandated, which is where actually a lot of the modern celebrations of it kind of stem from. Like, and this is where I was reminded of your holiday, like children, because one of the characteristics, big bonfire, right? Because very first time bonfire, but it stopped being kind of like a state-sponsored bonfire. And so children would go around soliciting combustible materials from the different people in the village, as well as money, food, and drink from the wealthier neighbors to enjoy at the bonfire.
Gotcha.
And they often were aided in their recruitment of these materials by singing songs. For instance, this one was recorded in 1742. Don't you remember the 5th of November? 'Twas gunpowder treason day. I let off my gun and made 'em all run and stole all their bonfire away. Now, maybe for a second they're like, oh, that sounds familiar, because you are probably familiar with the 1870 version of that poem, Remember, the 5th of November, the gunpowder treason and plot. I know of no reason why the gunpowder treason should ever be forgot, and so on. That more formalized version that we probably associate with that was written much after the fact, probably somewhat based on the songs and things that children sang as they went door to door trying to recruit materials to burn and eat and stuff at the bonfire.
Lovely.
So today, the holiday is still celebrated, although some of the sources that I read said that it's kind of died out a little bit, although it now almost has absolutely nothing to do with the gunpowder plot. It's just an excuse for people to have bonfires, burn effigies of Guy Fawkes for reasons that they probably don't fully understand.
They still kept that.
But they also like...
You're always going to burn an effigy if you're allowed to.
It said kids, like 25% of some village that they surveyed, kids made those and then kind of went door to door with them to collect money and candy and stuff. Like, so it there's like a trick or treating element tied to the Guy Fawkes dolls that they made.
I should have asked my British friends for you if this is a thing that they grew up with.
Yeah. And they still have the bonfire. There's fireworks, etc. An interesting little side note tied to that is apparently in northern England on November 4th, so the day before this, they refer to as Mischief Night, where...
Oh, I've heard that term before.
Yeah, so it kind of stemmed from people competing to have the biggest bonfire on the 5th, and so there would be pranks and stuff going on the night before, including trying to steal each other's bonfire materials to make your bonfire bigger, and then other like teens and stuff doing pranks around the town. So like there's this Mischief Night as like in Guy Fawkes Eve, building up to the festivities of Guy Fawkes Night itself.
That's interesting. I notice we have a lot of celebration during key astronomical parts of the year, like halfway point between solstices, kind of around the equinox, or it'll be after the equinox. And then we have Christmas coinciding with the winter solstice. We don't have too much in the summer.
Yeah.
Don't need your spirits lifted in the summer.
In the summer,
Northern
yeah.
Europe.
That's the other thing is like during these tougher parts of the year when it's really dark out and cold, trying to just gather around traditions to lift one's spirit is kind of a thing. Oh,
I also should mention they also apparently in more modern celebrations have kind of spiraled out into burning other people in effigy. So unpopular political figures.
Yeah.
So that idea of this being tied to a political protest still kind of exists, but now it's actually much more maybe sympathetic to Guy Fawkes than it had been originally.
Has the religious undertones gone away?
Yeah,
by
I
now?
think almost entirely. In fact, I think that part of it has intentionally so, because in modern sensibilities are much less comfortable with openly attacking other religions.
For our third set of traditions, I have Mari Lwyd. Have either of you heard of Mari Lwyd before?
No.
No.
This is an Epiphany tradition from good old Wales. That it first originated it's first written down, I should say, in the 1800s, early 1800s. Maybe it started before then. I don't know for sure. Like I said, I prepped this 20 minutes ago. And it is once again a wassailing tradition. Do you know what wassailing is? It's what both of you mentioned. Going door to door, singing songs or reciting poetry in exchange for things. But there's some extra steps to this one. So Mari Lwyd refers to a figure. I won't say a person. Called Mari Lwyd. You make Mari Lwyd with the skull of a horse, which you then decorate with ribbons, put on a pole, and then wrap a white sheet around. So it looks like a grandma in a big white sheet or something, but it's a horse skull. And sometimes you have a second pole so you can move the jaw of the horse. And usually there's a whole band of people that go with it. There's a leader who's very smartly dressed. There's occasionally merry men. What are the dolls that beat each other up?
Punch and Judy.
Punch and Judy
I'm gonna say Rock'em Sock'em Robots.
would follow them around as well. You have lots of ribbons and everything and music. It might be a full band going with them, depending on the size of the group, usually 6 to 8 people. And you would approach a house and knock on the door, and then the horse will sing a song to them.
Wilbur.
Mari Lwyd will sing a song asking them for admittance to the house. The people in the house then need to sing or recite back excuses for why they can't come in. Then Mari Lwyd will return with another verse of the song. So this turns into a musical wassailing debate. Kind of like the song for Figgy Pudding. You have Bring Us Figgy Pudding for the first verse, and then we won't go until we get some, and then like it just keeps on going. So you go back and forth between the house and the horse until if the house runs out of verses before the horse does, they have to let them in and give them food and ale. And this happens on the 12th night of Christmas, which is Epiphany Eve.
There's so much Christmasness about this.
Oh, yes.
Except for the dead horse.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that kind of tie to Christmas traditions that we think of, going caroling and stuff like that, just without a horse skull on a pole. And we don't know where the horse came from. We don't even know what the name Mari Lwyd means. Lwyd means... or Lwyd is the soft mutation of the word llwyd, which means gray. So some people say it means the gray mare, although other people have said it means Gray Mary, as in the Virgin Mary, or Holy Mary, someone translated it as, which seems like a wild translation to me. But I don't know. I'm not fluent in the language. But yeah, do you think we should start doing this around school?
I just think we should bring back the tradition of just caroling outside.
Caroling in general.
Just caroling in general, going from door to door in a neighborhood. We do it for Halloween, but it's just so cold here during Christmas time. In England, it's cold, but it's not. I don't think it's as cold as it can be here in the upper Midwest, Wisconsin in December. It depends on the day.
We do a 12 Days of Christmas fundraiser here. I wonder if dressing up with a horse skull and going from classroom to classroom would be a good method.
Possibly. People get bored.
That's true.
And then they do something. And once you've done something, it very quickly becomes a tradition.
Yeah, that's true.
And then, as weird as it is, it's something to look forward to.
Yeah. My brother has this weird Santa, which it looks grumpy, and it wraps on the top of a Christmas tree because it has bendy arms, but his feet look like hands, so they call him Monkey Santa. And that's a tradition to put him up on top of the tree, and my brother looks forward to that every year.
Yeah, that's how it works. But that reminds me of something that I don't look forward to every year.
Dun, dun,
Dun, dun, dun!
Daylight saving time.
Oh, boy.
Why do we still do this? Every year, we pretend it makes sense. Like, oh yeah, let's just move time around a little. That'll be cool. First off, it's called daylight saving time. No S. It's one saving. Just one. We can't even say it right, and somehow we're all fine with that. And don't even get me started on why we do it. No one actually knows. You ask 10 people, you get 10 different answers. It saves energy. It doesn't. Well, it helps the farmers. They actually hate it. It keeps the vampires away, said someone somewhere probably.
Probably.
Seriously, it doesn't help farmers. It messes with their cows. You ever tried explaining to a cow why breakfast is now an hour later? No, they don't really get it. And the sleep thing? Oh, the sleep thing. Every March and November, we collectively agree to feel and look like jet-lagged raccoons for a week. But this one's the good one, people say. We get an extra hour, sure, unless you have small children, then congratulations, you're just awake at 4 a.m. instead of 5. Truly living the dream. And I don't know about any of you, but last week is the week after daylight saving time. Our students were dead. It was a weird week. And I was like, why is this a weird week? Daylight saving time. Can we please stop changing the clocks twice a year for no reason? Can we just pick a time and commit? Of course, that leads to the big question, which one do we keep? Permanent daylight saving time? It makes sense for most of us. More daylight after work, fewer people depressed at 4 p.m. But for states like Michigan, brutal. The sun wouldn't.
Bad already.
The sun wouldn't rise until after 9 a.m. in the winter.
Oh, no.
Kids would be walking to school in pitch darkness like extras in a horror movie. So here's my proposal. We live in a democracy. Let each state vote. You want sunshine until bedtime? Vote daylight saving time. You want to hibernate at 5 p.m., vote standard. Just no more collective clock chaos. We've suffered enough.
A+.
Yeah.
A++. Extra credits.
There have been how many bills introduced to try to undo this?
But again, the root of it is, I think, you can't go all or nothing. If we all agree as an entire country to do one or the other, half the states are going to hate it. If every state could just decide.
I thought every state could already decide.
Arizona
does its own thing.
Some have rebelled.
There's a couple towns that just do their own thing.
Yeah, it needs to go away. I hate it.
Have you just said you like everyone just go back to local noon? Isn't that
that would be beautiful.
They used to just define noon for every town was when the sun was directly overhead. That's why you had so many observatories even before we had like telescopes, because you needed it for keeping accurate time for that city throughout the day.
Mm-hmm. Let's do that. We have enough satellite and computational power that we can do that. It's fine.
Wouldn't be chaos though. Am I up next?
I suppose.
Alrighty. We were going to go... I didn't touch the Christmas season at all with mine. We're jumping from fall through winter into spring when it's everyone's favorite animal-associated holiday. Never mind.
Groundhog Day.
Groundhog Day. Or everyone's favorite movie featuring I forgot his name now.
Bill Murray.
Bill Murray.
Vermilly, yep.
Words is hard. So why do we get so caught up in this idea that a creature rises from the ground and tells us or shows us if we're going to have more winter or not? This comes from the Dutch and the Germans, who used to look to another animal that would usually rise from its hibernation, which in a previous episode we myth busted this, that these animals actually don't just sleep all of winter. They are somewhat active. We're talking about bears and their hibernation.
Bears.
Yeah, so they used to
I
use
thought it was a hedgehog.
they used to use bears in Germany, but when they were either out hunted or became lesser available, they also went to foxes, but eventually they ended up with the groundhog. And this goes back to another thing that we talked about, is just trying to divine the future, because knowing how much more winter you'll have to contend with is kind of an important thing for an agriculturally based society, so farmers and whatnot. So this was transplanted to the New World, to America, and when a lot of it kind of centers around Pennsylvania, where the Pennsylvania Dutch settle in, and Puxatawny Phil is the kind of gold standard. I think other cities have other groundhogs.
Lesser groundhogs.
Yeah. So Puxatawny
Hashtag not my groundhog.
has kind of, we'll say, the most visible one, but other cities also have their claim to fame with their groundhogs, trying to tell you if there's going to be more winter or not. But the success rate has been below 50% when you compare it to the actual data.
Well, they don't actually have the groundhog come out of its burrow.
It's like, hold it up.
Yeah, they just hold it up. And everybody cheers like the Messiah was just born.
Like they're Lion King Simba.
Yeah.
Up there.
And I love they dress up in their beaver skin
absolutely.
hats, and like it's quite the pageantry they put on for this.
It's great. I honestly think, at some point, this might have been a good thing to have. Like, animals seem to know a lot more about weather and climate than we do. So looking at an animal that typically stays in a den over winter, and then whether or not it's active or not seems like it should be a good indication of when spring will be.
Yeah, I agree. But that's not what this is.
Not anymore.
Yeah.
Not anymore.
This also reminded me that, did you hear that they are no longer going to print the Farmer's Almanac?
I did not.
I was wondering if that was going to come to an end at some point here.
It's been around for I don't know how long, filled with this kind of thing, kind of like pseudoscience, trying to look at some things in nature to try to make predictions that are way far out there.
Yeah, I'm not sure I would call it pseudoscience so much as tradition. I'm not sure they
Tradition with a little dash of science.
Well,
sprinkled on top.
do they claim it to be scientific?
I have no idea what they claim it to be. They make claims about climate and weather.
How often was the Farmer's Almanac right?
I don't know what its percentage was for
No idea.
weather percent.
We should look into that for a future episode.
That'd be a fun one.
Statistics episode, for instance.
We need to do this. I want to do a statistics episode. As boring as it sounds, I think we could have some fun with it.
Well, look, let's get back to Christmas. How many of you boys and girls did Saint Nick as a child?
No.
So, as a child, no, but when I married my wife, yes.
So now you do the Saint Nick thing in the household?
we do.
I
the same
hadn't heard about it until I taught here.
Yeah.
I really want to see a regional map of Saint Nick celebration. I may just Google that real quick. You go, Mr. Lynch.
Yeah. So for those of you who are unaware, in certain parts of the world, they have this tradition where a couple of weeks before Christmas, I forget the date, Saint Nick, who's inspired by a real saint, shows up at your house and leaves little tiny presents for you if you're a good boy or girl. It's like pre-Santa.
It's like just stocking stuffers, right?
Yeah, it's
That's
more just
typically
smaller,
what people
smaller
do.
things. Yeah, in advance. And again,
Is this like? This is another thing I don't know what it is. Is this like Boxing Day in Canada?
No idea.
No idea. I should have looked up Boxing Day.
Yeah, maybe that, but more than once.
You're on the computer. You look up Boxing Day.
Okay.
Anyway, I don't really care about Saint Nick. I care about his good buddy Krampus.
Oh, yeah.
We're talking about Krampusnacht, ladies and gentlemen. So, in the traditional celebrations of the Feast of St. Nicholas, jolly gift-giving saint was actually accompanied by a horned figure named Krampus who punished the naughty children by beating them with birch rods or stuffing them in sacks.
Yikes.
Was this the same as Black Pete, or did he work with Black Pete?
So we're going to talk about that because so Krampus usually featured as a man with horns with one like human foot and one goat foot, covered in black hair, like has a long snake or dragon-like tongue, kind of a terrifying figure. And he's paired with Saint Nick in Germanic, Eastern European countries especially. Because Saint Nick was a saint based on Saint Nicholas. And because he was a saint, they kind of felt like it was inappropriate for the saint to do punishing.
Oh.
So Saint Nick, in a lot of different geographic locations, was paired with a helper. So Zwarte Piet
Zwarte Piet
was one of those. Other places, there was Farmhand Rupert.
Ooh, Farmhand Rupert sounds real intimidating.
That one was actually, he was kind of nice. He
sounds
gifts.
like a nice guy.
Schmutzli. There's Pierre Fotard. I don't know how to say some of these.
Look out, a Farmhand Rupert will get you.
So yeah, depending on the geographic region, Saint Nick had a helper who either punished the naughty children while he gave gifts to the good ones, or also gave a different type of gift to the children. What I found fascinating about this, because I just wanted to dig into the Krampus thing of it all, is that there does seem to be this example of like this paganism wrapped into a Christian tradition. Like, it's unclear what the root of this tradition comes from, but it seems like it's one of those where it's a meld of Christianity and like the historic paganism. This idea of having this masked figure who's this terrifying creature and then parades through the streets has other connected ideas in other parts of Europe. Apparently, like in the Tyrol region of Central Europe, they do this thing called Perchtenlaufen, where two groups of locals fight each other with canes and sticks while both of them are wearing masks. Like, one group wears ugly masks and the other wears like beautiful masks, and they fight each other in the streets.
I want to see that.
Yeah, which is tied to this like Krampus parade where these people dressed as Krampus go through with their sticks and do stuff. So these Krampusnachten traditions still go on, but now are mostly just parades of people dressed in terrifying ways, trying to scare the people watching the parade, and tend to be less violent. Of course, this Krampus thing has also caught on in popular culture and has inspired like horror movies and a whole host of other things. But it's a real thing that people celebrate places.
To follow up on some previous question, Boxing Day is the day after Christmas.
Yeah, I thought it was.
It's more, I think, like seen as to donate gifts to those in need.
Okay.
And as for St. Nick's prevalence, this probably would need some more heavy research. If you type in St. Nick's Day prevalence into Google and you just look at the AI overview, it'll say something like, particularly prevalent in cities like Milwaukee and Cincinnati and Pittsburgh. You wonder, like, why is it picking out those cities? Because in the Google search, those cities have articles written by their city's newspapers about what is St. Nick's Day.
Gotcha.
So it's just pulling from more current city newspapers explaining why it's popular in their area. But I think it's kind of an upper Midwest thing because it has the Germanic and Dutch European roots. Mm-hmm. So, but yeah, I grew up in Southwest Michigan, never heard of it, and I myself am Dutch and German, but I must have been lost to my family throughout the generations.
I was in Michigan, Nebraska, North Dakota, South Dakota, Minnesota. Never heard of it till I lived here.
Yeah.
For the record, we don't observe it in my household, but
It is kind of fun for us because you can use it to talk a little bit more about the actual guy, Saint Nicholas,
As opposed to Santa Claus.
yeah, as opposed to Santa Claus, and how he put the money in the socks of some women whose father didn't have any money for their dowry.
Yeah.
I think that's how it started, and then that's how it all
Caught
started.
it from there. Yeah. Well, speaking of Christmas traditions that mix paganism and Christianity, have you all heard of the 13 Yule Lads?
Nope.
Boy, do I have some fun stuff for you. So this is more the Nordic regions, particularly, I believe. Well, it's Scandinavian. This is all Scandinavian. The 13 Yule Lads are associated with stories of a troll named Grilla, and who eats children who are bad in a big pot. And her husband, Lepaludi, sorry if I mispronounced that, who is lazy and mostly just stays at home in the cave. Which
Is this Christmas time again?
yes.
Oh my
So
goodness.
that started as a story. Grilla is mentioned much earlier.
how's that spelled?
And then GRY with an accent LA.
Okay.
Okay. And then it was rewritten into a poem for the Christmas time and became a Christmas tradition. Grilla, her husband, their cat, the Yule cat, which you may have heard of, it hides around in the countryside and looking for locals to eat who aren't wearing new clothes on Christmas. So make sure you get new clothes for Christmas, or you might get eaten by a troll's pet cat. They
big
have
cat.
13 sons, the 13 Yule Lads. And they are pragsters of various degrees who each have their own night during the Yuletide. So during the 13 days of Christmas, they each get their own night. And I didn't write down all of them, but because some of them are kind of repetitive. They're mainly used for your typical fairy tale. They're stories to direct and or instruct children, right? So each of them kind of get their own focus night where you can teach your kids a little lesson. And they're quite preposterous.
Like, wear the new clothes I bought you, even if the shoes are uncomfortable. I don't care. We're getting a good family Christmas picture.
Exactly. Or a cat's going to eat you. So some of them, I didn't write down all of them, but some of them, some of my favorites, there's sheepcoat clod, or sheepcoat clod, sorry. Sheepcoat clod harasses sheep, but it's difficult for him because he has 2 peg legs.
So this only impacts people with sheep.
It's Scandinavia. There's Gullygawk. Gullygawk hides in gullies, waiting to steal your milk. Okay, so better protect the milk. Stubby.
I thought
Just stubby.
Wait, I thought you're supposed to be getting lessons from these.
Yeah, just don't walk
did-
around gullies with milk. Derek. What's so hard to understand about that?
Stubby is short, hence his name, and he steals pans to eat the dried out like bread crust from the bottom of them. So guard your pans, or wash out your pans so that he doesn't steal them, I guess.
That's probably that one.
Spoon licker.
What does he do?
He licks spoons.
So
He's very similar to his brother Stubby, but he's very thin from malnutrition because all he eats is off of spoons.
I want to go back to sheepcoat cloth. The rest of these seem like just describing what they are. And that one,
No idea.
okay. Because at first I thought you weren't really translating these.
They have that is the translation that is on the interwebs.
All right. Great.
Yeah, my personal favorite is door slammer.
What does he do?
He likes slamming doors, particularly at night. And then there's candle beggar. Candle beggar's extra fun. Candle beggar follows children around to steal their candles because candles are made of tallow and therefore edible. So there's 13 of these guys.
I don't like how you looked at me when you said edible.
That made me uncomfy. So there's 13 of these guys. If you want a great little rabbit hole, you could read up on all of them and the pranks that they'll do.
I love how in modern days we've pretty much expunged all these weird, bad, or negative things, except for maybe Elf on the Shelf. Probably the
You don't want to go over the 13 Yule lads with your kids?
No, I think he does. I think he's saying he misses it.
I think
okay.
maybe some more balance to the holidays. We can't feel too good.
All the children deserve presents.
You need law and gospel.
Gospel, yeah.
Not every child deserves presents. Some of them deserve to be eaten by a giant cat.
Or thrown in a sack and beat with sticks.
And okay, never mind. I shouldn't say that. Krampus has some weird things associated with him.
Yeah.
Is it back to me?
Round 3.
Round 3. All right.
The final round.
Again, I didn't do anything
Fight.
Christmas related, so if you were really hoping for that, I'm sorry. We already celebrated this a couple months ago, but I was just curious about it. Labor Day. Why do we have a day called Labor Day? Are we supposed to be just celebrating our hard work?
Well, I think it's specifically unions.
Right.
Yeah.
Coming from the history teacher, he would know that. But the circumstances around which this was made into a national holiday is kind of interesting. So during this time period, we're especially looking at September 5th, 1882, 10,000 New York City workers took the day to march through the streets in protests for their working conditions and their hours that they were working. This is a time when we didn't have any child labor laws, so a lot of children are working and getting injured.
You're living in 1882. Pick a better decade.
Yeah, Mr. Walter, pick a better decade where you can afford a house.
Ooh. Ooh, he had that one ready.
He can get one of them new 50-year mortgages.
Oh, no.
You just sell your soul to the bank for a house.
I'll just move to South America. I'll be a billionaire.
Anywho, there's also some boycotting of Pullman rail cars for their working conditions, and this resulted in some rioting where people died. And there was there's millions of dollars of damage inflicted from all these riots and these protests.
So we decided to celebrate this.
So, as a consolation prize, President Grover Cleveland writes it into law that we will celebrate our workers, and so that's how Labor Day was born, out of rioting and protests in the conditions.
Is it a holiday to celebrate the ability for unions to, like, is it celebrating the win of the labor unions, or is it
I would say
just
so.
commemorating the day?
No, I think it's to celebrate labor unions and the fight for workers' rights.
I should have turned off my mic when I coughed.
That's okay. But yeah, I don't have much else to say, but I just...
It is kind of weird to think about that we have a day every year that to celebrate work, we take the day off of work.
Yep. And it's kind of now become the unofficial end of summer.
That's true. Yeah. Most schools start after Labor Day.
Not us.
Nope.
Not us.
I live to see the day when I won't have any students complain about our schedule of how many days of school, like the lack of days off we have.
I should keep a tally of how many times per year I give the speech where I'm like, we could take this day off, But we'd have to add another one somewhere else, ladies
Yeah.
and gents.
Yeah. It's just the amount of hours we need for DPI.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Let's go to a more lighthearted holiday. This holiday is Śmigus Dingus. That's Polish.
Sounds like Polish.
Nobody's really sure exactly how to translate the words themselves. Sometimes it's also affectionately referred to as Wet Monday.
Beautiful.
That makes me comfy.
Hey, what about Moist Monday?
No. We're going past moist. This is
Damp?
so. This is celebrated in Poland and Polish-speaking countries, among Polish diasporic, I pronounced that wrong, communities in other parts of the world as well, on Easter Monday. And the origins of the word dingus, it's with the Y, D-Y-N-G-U-S, are obscure. It may come from the German Dingeier, which means owed eggs. So maybe it's tied to the fact because it's the day after Easter, and so
interesting.
So might be tied to that. It might be tied to dingness or dingnus, which is a ransom paid during the war to protect against pillaging.
These things are not connected in any way. I'm extra confused.
Well, because here's what they do, okay? There's a couple of different traditions tied to this. Most of them involve males harassing females, okay? Either by sprinkling water on them, just dumping water on them to wake them up, throwing them into a body of water.
Okay. That escalated quickly.
In a flirtatious way. You know, it's usually be a girl that you're interested in. Because
water.
one of the notes I read said particularly attractive girls could expect to be soaked repeatedly during the day.
Huh. Lovely.
There's some debate about what the inspiration for the water is. Some say it's tied to like a baptismal symbol of baptism.
Sure.
Some had said no,
Most
it's more like
wholehearted.
because of its timing in spring. It's like spring rains, gearing up for a bountiful harvest, and so
That's extra creepy.
So there's some like fertility associated with it. Douse the woman in water so she's fertile.
Sure.
Is this kind of like the is it the Spanish Easter tradition where you break an egg over you break an Easter egg over someone's head? Typically, like, you hollow it out first, but you break it over the head of someone that you like. Sometimes you fill it with like glitter or something and smash it, so then they're covered in glitter. Yeah, it seems similar.
But this is where the ransom piece comes in. In some regions, girls could save themselves from this by giving the boys ransoms of painted eggs, which were kind of regarded as magical charms of some sort.
Like a "you can't pinch me on St. Patty's, I'm wearing green" type thing.
But then the next day, on Tuesday, the girls could get revenge on the boys by soaking them back.
At least it's fair.
Okay,
Yes. Now I
so
think
one-sided.
it's just kind of turned into a giant water fight between everyone.
A 2-day water fight.
Yeah, or maybe just, I think mostly on the Monday. I think the
Okay.
follow-up day has mostly been abolished because
Having a national water fight sounds amazing.
Yeah.
What's the game the seniors play where they try to
Water
spring
Wars?
Water Wars. Yeah, like a nationwide water wars.
Yeah, look. So, and then this also then connects to some of the other things we've said. The W thing you say, the what? Why?
Wassailing?
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 Wassailing, okay. Because in some places there would be a dingus procession where a parade of boys would take part in a march, which they refer to as like going on the dingus with the cockerel. They have like a live bird, which they would take without permission and then stuff with grain soaked in vodka to make the bird crow loudly.
Okay.
I've never tried that before.
I think nowadays it's more of a decorated and carved wooden rooster, which they use as an alternative, but they used to use a real one.
Like their mascot?
It's the modern
Rooster,
Louis.
also a symbol of fertility. Anyway, which they decorated with ribbons and flowers, and they also added small puppets representing a wedding party, and they'd push it up to doors and then crow like roosters and sing dingus songs, requesting gifts and food,
Wonderful.
trying to get the people to give them food from their Easter tables.
Gotcha. There's always leftovers.
And here's a typical dingus song for your enjoyment. Your duck has told me that you've baked a cake. Your hen has told me she's laid you a basket and a half of eggs. Your sow has told me that you've killed her son. If not her son, then her little daughter. Give me something, if only a bit of her fat, who will not be generous today. Let him not count on heaven.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Is this all related to our current definition of dingus?
I have no idea.
Because that's all I keep
I
hearing.
understand. I thought the same thing. I don't think it is. However, now, so this is something very Polish, but there are Polish communities in America who do celebrate Dingus Day, prominently Buffalo, New York, Cleveland, Ohio, South Bend, Indiana, and Pine Creek, Wisconsin. Yeah. So just a weird, wacky water fight, borderline sexual harassment. Give me your food because I have a drunk rooster holiday.
That's beautiful.
Take us home, Mr. Walter.
Have any of you heard of the pooping log? We're back to Christmas, ladies and gentlemen.
Excellent.
No.
My handwriting's terrible because I wrote this real fast. I
Wait,
believe
did you only spend like 20 minutes getting ready for this or something?
Absolutely. This is a Catalonian holiday.
Okay.
And I believe the original title is Tio de Nadal. Tio meaning log. And you have this log, which they paint a face on and wrap in a blanket to keep cozy. And every night after dinner, they feed it. They feed the log. Okay. And then when you get to Christmas Eve, the log is full and ready. So you beat it with sticks until it poops out candy.
So it's like a piñata that you make.
I guess.
Yeah, it's like a self-made piñata.
Yeah.
It's just like gaslighting children. Like, I'm feeding the log, and like, you didn't feed it. Really? Hit it, beat it, and watch what comes out.
Exactly. I think that's probably where it started. Although originally you didn't beat it with sticks. You would stick part of it in the fireplace and threaten to burn it unless it gave you the candy. You would shake down the log for candy. But now most people don't have a fireplace, so they went straight to beating with sticks, I guess. You gotta do something for the candy.
Where is this popular?
Catalonian.
Where is that?
Catalan? Good question.
I feel like Spain.
It's like it's one of the Spanish regions, right? On the border?
Okay.
Question mark?
Look, that is my instinct. If we both thought the same thing, it's probably right.
Google Catalonia for me. You've got the computer. We've already done this once this episode. Who cares about a little more dead air?
There wasn't dead air last time. We talked.
We
can talk
yapped
through
the
it
whole
this
time. We can yap the whole time
Yeah.
this time.
Look, he's got an answer already.
Autonomous Community of Spain.
Hey.
Oh, okay. It's right.
Bop, bop.
It's on the northeastern part of Spain, on the
That's exactly where I thought it was.
on the Mediterranean Sea, borders with France.
Nailed it.
Yeah.
Nailed it. Yeah. So this is celebrated there and a couple other Spanish places. But yeah, how about this one? You gonna feed a log this Christmas with your kids?
No.
No. You could feed it the Halloween candy, and then maybe some of the Halloween candy will get destroyed, and so you have less candy.
I may celebrate Easter Monday by dumping a bucket of water on my wife while she's still sleeping.
Let me know how that works out for you.
Yeah.
I'm sure she will be appreciative and return the favor on Easter Tuesday.
So we've been talking about some pretty interesting holidays, and I think I've been thinking about the fact that these shared traditions are a form of community and unity. And I think we live in a society where that has become so much more homogenized. Everybody watches the same 3 movies to celebrate the holiday, eats the same exact food. There's little variety, and it's a lot of boring stuff. I think we should have more unique traditions. Like I want to go home and come up with some ridiculous holiday tradition that is unique to my family that they pass on. That's almost homework, but I don't care. I think find something unique, and I think that'll create a bond. I was thinking of like my theater students. The guys started this tradition my first year here that they call Common Cup, which involves one of them generating some kind of drink concoction, and then all of the male cast members drinking this concoction. I tell them, look, the rule is it cannot be anything that's going to hurt anyone, and you can't make anyone else participate if they do not want to. But otherwise, let it happen because it's community building, and they'll tell the story about the time that they put the thickener into it that helps people who can't swallow well swallow things, and just had like thick lemonade or something. Like.
That's great.
But it creates community. It creates something. It's unique. It's special, and I think it's awesome.
Yeah, there's so many weird and wild traditions, and we just grazed the surface of more popular ones. I can't even imagine all of the traditions that have been forgotten at this point.
Yeah.
You said we live in a world that's a lot more homogenized. I also think we live in a world that's a lot more digitized, and there's not as much wassailing going on. There's not as much caroling. There are some fun new, I don't know if they're traditions yet that happen, like when you see large amounts of kids going to the movie theater dressed in suits to watch specific movies.
Yeah.
I think that could be a great tradition that comes out of this. That's a wonderful community building. But yeah, I agree. I want to find new traditions that I can do. I can't wait to make new traditions with the people I know and to keep doing those.
For my closing thought, I'm just going to leave you with a quote for you to chew on from Gustav Mahler. Tradition is not the worship of ashes, but the preservation of fire. I'm going to let you just chew on that one because I think that applies pretty well to our discussion for today.
Nom, 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 nom.
Yes. Your homework for today, you've already been kind of given some homework, but I'm going to put some other touches on it. If you live in a household and you have traditions, or if you live on your own and you still are able to do traditions with your extended family or maybe your immediate family that's not with you, make a list, sit down and make a list of the traditions that you have for a specific holiday and see what you might want to add or change. If there's something that's outlived its usefulness and it's become more of a headache than a joy, change it. If there's some room for something new that you either heard here today or you find inspiration elsewhere, maybe there's room for something new and fun to look forward to. That's your homework, everyone. Back to Mr. Walter for your closing.
And hey, if you have any traditions or any comments on the traditions of today, clarifications, if we said something wrong about a tradition that you still, for some reason, participate in, feel free to let us know at smartestguyspod@gmail.com.
That's the one.
smartestguyspod@gmail.com. Thanks, gentlemen. Class dismissed.